Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today's philosophical topic or rambling is based around the saying aim small, miss small. Now I'm not sure exactly where it originally came from, but Mel Gibson made it famous in one of his movies, which was a great movie by the way. Now, is this productive as from a new thrower become more accurate, or you should be trying or starting out with a bigger target area and slowly reducing it? Now, after long hard thinking about the subject, I came up with the idea of yes. Let me explain. Now, if you're looking at a certain point or one point in your target, your implement, knife, whatever you're throwing, will naturally gravitate towards it, right? Just like if you're in a fight, wherever you look, that's where you're going to punch. Okay, it takes years and years of practice to look somebody in the eye and then punch them in the lower region, right? Because our aim seem to follow our eyes. Okay, so in that sense, I think it's 100% true. If you aim at a small target, it will gravitate towards that point, right? On the other hand, if that's the only target within your target phase, I think it can be counterproductive. Let me expand on this, okay? I think end of last year, I can't remember exactly how long I've been chasing silhouettes. I came up with this idea of I'm going to get into silhouette throwing. I'm going to do it wrong because I'm doing no spin. I'm going to do it even worse because I'm using screwdrivers. Yeah, I'm aware of all that. But I looked up the rules, 3 meter, and the silhouette, the circles, the target is 100 millimeter in diameter, or mostly. Okay, so that's 10 centimeter diameter, or just under 4 inches. Depends on where you live. Okay, now, so I painted them on my target, and I started throwing. And what happened? I had a bad session. Suddenly I had a relatively okay session. And then I was back into bad session, missing the circles, missing them. And that was like a repeatable cycle, okay? Now, personally, I like to measure my achievements somehow. I like to have a little bit of understanding of, am I gaining knowledge here, or am I just having one of those lucky days, right? And it was almost unmeasurable because the bad days so much outweighed the good days, or the measurable days, the decent days, right? So I was getting a little bit disheartened with this whole idea, thinking I'm never going to be that good. But most importantly, the thought going into my head that this is only just lucky shots. If when I hit it, it was only just lucky shot, okay? Because it was such a low hit rate. Now, within around that time period, I seen a video, maybe it was a short, from Marcus Perhout. He's an amazing thrower. He has amazing tutorials on rotational throwing. He has great accuracy too. So he had these 6 squares painted up, and then he done a walk up on those squares, of course hitting all of them. So I went, oh, those squares look bigger than my circles. So I had a look lots of times of his video, and I rushed down that night and painted the squares, give or take how much I looked like, Later on I found out that I painted them much bigger than his squares were, but let's not dampen the spirit. So I set out again. I started, and what I noticed is that my hit rate, which I set out to achieve, I was achieving it more often within a session, you know. I achieved it initially 2 or 3, 4 times, and then it went up and up and up. Now, by the way, my hit rate count is kind of, it makes sense to me, but I got laughed at by a mathematician when I explained my rationale behind it, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Basically, what I count as a good hit, that's 3. So I do sets of 5. Okay, so 3 out of a set of 5 has to be in the target and within the square. That's a good hit. That's what I call a 60% hit, or a good point, one good point. Anything below that is a 0 point. Anything above that is still only a point. And what I set out when I said to know that I am good at this, I set out to be doing a 5-set test. Like, it's not like my best 5 set. It's like coming down, and today is test time. I'm going to do a 5-set test. And out of the 5 sets, 4 times I had to hit that 3 hits. And to make sure that this is a repeatable thing, I had to do this 2 sessions one after the other. So I had a test day, I got it, and then I had next session was also a test day. That's as best as I can get to be certainty. And then I achieved that, made my square smaller. Now, that basically gave me a step-by-step achieving my goal. And once I achieve the squares, then I can go down, hunt my circles again. Now, I'm not saying do not look, because I actually, when I throw, I look in the middle of the square. I focus on the middle. I could paint a little dot on it, but I can actually just see the middle of the square. I'm not looking at the whole square. So I still think the philosophy behind it is great. But I also think if you're a new thrower and that's the only target in your target face is like a bottle cap or a golf tee or whatever you want to make as a target, you can get disheartened because you're going to miss. Okay? Now, if you keep at it, you will get better, because I 100% believe that if I would kept hunting my circles, I would be exactly where I am now. But the increase is very gradual when you graph it. I graph everything, I measure everything. And therefore, you need a huge mental stamina or focus of, yes, I am achieving this, and very little self-doubt. Okay, I actually ended up in the self-doubt. These are just lucky shots, that's it. Okay, now if you can get away from those 2 things, or you have mental stamina and little self-doubt, then it's great for you. But if not, then start with a bigger target and put a dot in the middle. Aim at that dot, but class it if you hit the bigger target. And if you hit the bigger target enough time, reduce the size of the target with the dot in the middle. So therefore, you are getting closer and closer and closer to that dot, but you can measure it if you have the need to measure stuff. So anyway, this is today's rambling. Hopefully it was useful to somebody, and maybe some people will have a different opinion on it. If you do, put it in the comments. Other than that, see you in the next video. Thanks for listening. Bye.